The Realtor's View, brought to you by Buick Real Estate, where we discuss the local market, real estate tips, helpful information, and life in Central Illinois. And now your host, Jim Wilkerson.
Hello everyone, Jim Wilkerson here on The Realtor's View. We have a very special podcast for you today. As realtors, we have to not only know the local market, know real estate, and all of that's going on there, but we have to know the community. We have to know its history. And that's what we're going to talk about today on The Realtor's View. Today, we want to welcome Julie Staley. Julie, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Jim. It is wonderful to be on here. I really appreciate being able to visit with you for a little bit and talk about some of the local history here. And you all do an amazing job of being connected to our community and supporting the history. So I want to thank you for that.
Awesome. Yeah, and we're going to talk about the film that I'm sure some of you out there have already seen the promos going out, but The Fields of Gold, and it's about A.E. Staley. And Julie, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and how you're connected with the film?
Yeah, absolutely. So Fields of Gold is a documentary about the life of A.E. Staley, who, of course, founded the A.E. Staley Manufacturing Company, which became Tate & Lyle and now is Primient. And so this was 100 years ago that this has evolved. And today it's something that I don't even think he could imagine what it has become today. And our film is a documentary, of course, about his life and about how he built this business and how it's been thriving. But it really, really, really is history of Decatur and history of many of the people that were there in the early years and were there in those formative years and by his side and helped him to make the company what it is today. We are really, really proud to be able to share this with the Decatur community as part of a partnership with the Herald and Review and also with the Staley Museum. And we've had a lot of access to the resources and archives, and Primient has also been very helpful in helping us produce this film. This is being produced by Spencer Films and also Pollock Films, who's out of Los Angeles. And so we've had a lot of people being able to give their input and their creative view and to help us get access to things that we need to tell this story.
I was thinking about this. Do you remember when The Informant came to town and Matt Damon and Scott Bakula? Mm-hmm. That was exciting. But for me, this is more exciting because it's local, but it's also being produced by a lot of local people. There's you have a lot of people involved in the making of this film. Can you talk to us a little bit about who all was involved in the process there?
Oh, absolutely. And that was one of the things when I started this. I directed it and wrote and produced it locally. Pollock Films and Michael Pollock and Arthur Allen Seidelman have produced it for Pollock Films. And I've been involved. This is a 5-year project. And I knew that I wanted to have at the beginning local people who knew this story, to be able to share this and to be able to unearth what we needed to get the story out. So we have one of our associate producers is Laura Richter, and she is from Springfield and from Spencer Films, and she has a long history of films across Central Illinois and a really wonderful history in a lot of different organizations. So she's been a real asset. Everyone has been an asset in their own right. Tim Lynn is our director of cinematography, and Tim is from Decatur, and he has, of course, done an amazing job of helping guide us to, what we need visually and what is going to help with telling this story. We also have Andy Moore, who's helped edit. He's from Decatur as well. Andy has a lot of experience doing local video and film productions, and so he really had a lot of wonderful insight, being someone from Decatur that could help tell this story as well. Lana Wildman, she is our archivist, but she also works at the museum, and Lana has a history with the film community in Central Illinois, and Lana has had a great insight as well for being able to ferret out information for us, and she has a degree in library science, a master's, and she's really knows how to dig deep to find information, and boy, that really helped quite a bit to look for some pieces that we really needed. We also have Dayton Emery, who is one of our youngest members of the team, and really came on, he's from Springfield, and he came on just with a really strong sense of knowing exactly what needs to happen in a certain moment for editing and for photography. And he really has a wonderful skill and is very, very talented in what he's doing. He has a wonderful eye for things. And so it's just been a real pleasure and treasure to be able to work with each one of these specific individuals and help us out. And I can't forget to mention Angie Cardinal, who's also from Decatur, and she's been our office manager. So she's kind of helped us on that side to keep things going, because it really takes a whole lot of layers to keep a film afloat for 5 years.
Oh, I bet. And there's also another person I think people are going to recognize his voice, your main narrator.
Peter Coyote, absolutely. Yeah. He does. Yeah, he narrates the film, and he is, of course, a wonderful addition. Anytime you see something that involves Peter Coyote, it is just really almost mesmerizing. And I knew right away that this would be something that would really, I think we would be able to really move our story forward in leaps and bounds if we were able to use his talent. And it was very, very clear as soon as we sat down and started the recording session with him that we would be able to tell this story in a very clear, concise, and compelling way. And yes, he did the job so beautifully, and we are so excited to be able to share this with the public coming up on September 16th, which is when our premiere will take place in Decatur.
That's right, September 16th. The doors open at 5 o'clock, and I know I've got some seats, so I'm ready to go. But you had your first premiere was in Beverly Hills, right? Not too long, just a few days ago or a week ago.
We had the Hollywood premiere on August 18th, and it was our star-studded gala event, and it was really wonderful. It was, of course, beautiful weather out there, and we had a beautiful theater, and so many people attending, and we were able to. That was our official world premiere, and Pollock Films was coordinating everything, and we were so thrilled to be able to finally share this and release it to the public. And we had a lot of wonderful comments and feedback after the film, so that really helped us to bring it home now, to really be even more excited to bring this to Decatur, to bring this film back home, and to let it be told, and let the public see this history that has been stirring for really over 150 years, because that's how long it's been since A.E. Staley was born.
Yeah, I was going to ask you too, how was your experience in Hollywood? And when you're talking to people out that way that maybe they have never even heard of Staley's, or what was your response, or how was their response? I mean, a lot of
Well,
times if
that's
I talk to people and they ask me, what's Staley or ADM, and I say, well, you've probably eaten some products, and you didn't realize you're connected to Decatur just for that.
exactly. People don't realize that, and we hope that that's something that they'll take away when they see this film. And that's a great question, because that is how Pollock Films got involved with this. It was something that we knew someone who knew someone, George Veras, actually, who's one of our producers, and one of Pollock Films producers, and he introduced us to Michael Pollock, and they had not really heard of this story either. They knew of George used to work at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and so he knew of the Chicago Bears and the history of that, but not really beyond that, not as the depth that we go into. And so when they started to see this story and hear more about the story of A.E. Staley and the obstacles that he overcame to put this company at the level that it's at now, they understood that this was something that they wanted to represent, and that this was a story that they thought should be told to the public. So that was a great validation for us to meet people that are in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
that work on films all over the world, actually, and to see our story from Decatur, Illinois, and to say this is something special that we want audiences worldwide to be able to see.
Now, I know you don't want to give away any kind of information too much yet about the film, but is there a certain part of the film that you're just really looking forward for people to see, or is there a scene or?
Of course, as a director, there's so many things of it that are are meaningful to me, and I think a lot of people are going to really relate to the football history.
Yeah.
That's what most people think about and know of when they hear of A.E. Staley, is the football history with the Decatur Staleys, which became the Chicago Staleys, and now they're the Chicago Bears. And that A.E. Staley hired George Halas to work at the company, and then eventually to take the football team to Chicago. So that's what most people know A.E. Staley for, and that is a wonderful legacy, and we're so proud of that. But it's not everything about him.
Yeah.
And in his world, in his mind, in his heart, he loved football and he loved sports. He loved sports. But that wasn't probably to him the most important thing. That doesn't, not to diminish that in any way, but that probably was not the thing that he was trying to seek out the most in his life. His heart was really, he was actually a baseball fan more than anything. But you have to look back at the history. Baseball, he was born in 1867, or I'm sorry, 1867. And so baseball was a popular sport. Football was really unheard of back then. And so football didn't become professional until A.E. Staley and others began what became the National Football League. He had George Halas as part of all that. And so football was not something he really saw as becoming the industry that it is today. And he really had a love of baseball.
Okay.
And we talk about this in the film. And so there's a lot of sports history in the film. But he really, more than anything, was an agriculture. That was his love. He grew up on a farm. He was a farm boy, and he knew farming, and he knew how to grow things and nurture things. And he, of course, became the nation's first processor of soybeans. And that was important to him because he knew he had a sixth sense about that. And he knew that would be something that would change the industry. And it sure did for farmers and for agribusiness. And so he really knew before anybody else that this was something that was going to be important. So his company, his business, and taking care of his employees, that was foremost above all anything. Taking care of all of his employees, taking care of his customers, taking care of people. That was what he did best. And we hope that people will feel that when they're watching the film.
Well, I know I've seen some photos of the administration building, the Staley building, where there's a level. There used to be, I don't know if there was grass or there was a place for employees to come out and kind of relax and get away from the office for just a little bit, and other places within the building for them to kind of take a moment away from work as well. I saw, you're talking about his focus on the employees. Those two things alone really kind of told me that he had that care.
Absolutely. During the Depression, he didn't lay people off. He kept people working, and he was always loyal to his employees, even when times were extremely tough. During the Depression, he just pressed on. He had no fear. He had no fear. And even after all of this time and all of this research, I don't know really where that came from. It's just an innate God-given sense that he was born with. There was a God-given direction that he had, that he was born with. It was just meant to happen. And somehow he tapped into that, and he knew what he was supposed to do and set out to do it. And really, really affected so many people, and made such a lasting impression for so many families and so many people and our community. And we are just, again, really, really honored to be able to share this history with everyone, because this is not just, it is A.E. Staley's history and a family history, but this is many, many hundreds and thousands of family history throughout the years. And we want this to be something that they can really hold on to as a piece of their own history and their own family legacy. So many people. I mean, if you go to Decatur, even if you've never been to Decatur, you walk in anywhere in Decatur and you ask someone if they know the Staley Company, everybody will know somebody that has worked there or still works there. And usually people know many people that either work there now with Primient or worked there many, many years ago. So many stories, endless amount of stories that can be told.
Oh, yeah.
And we hear that at the museum, at the Staley Museum. We have a lot of events there, open house events for different holidays and things. And our retirees come in and tell us about their stories. And I love hearing that. I love to listen to people tell us their story of what the company meant to them, what it meant to their family. A lot of people will say, well, their parents met there and they got married and they were married for 50 years or 60 years, or their grandparents met there. Maybe all of their aunts and uncles worked there, their brothers and sisters worked there. And it really is a family history, and it really was a family when A.E. Staley was there. And we hope that everyone will have that family pride to share this history and this legacy when they see this film.
Now, Julie, what years was he in Decatur? When did he come?
So you'll see in the film, he actually first came to Decatur as a traveling salesman, and he didn't know he would ever move to Decatur, but he just, came in town as a traveling salesman. But later on, just kind of by happenstance, they ended up finding the property here to buy the plant and move. So that would have been around 1906, and it took a while once he bought the property to get the property up to speed so he could actually get it operating, because it was a defunct plant when he bought it.
Okay.
So it took a little while before everything was going smoothly. So he would have actually, started that process around 1906, but would have been coming into town much sooner than that, maybe the late 1800s, early 1900s, as a salesman. So he was here and brought his family then over around 1912, and he had 5 children with his wife Emma, and they raised all of their children in Decatur. And they did have a Florida home that they would go to in the 1930s when he retired, and then he did pass away in 1940, and that's when A.E. Staley Jr. Became chairman.
Now, he was very instrumental in the building of Lake Decatur, like the early 20s, like 1920 to 23, in those years, because you had the pump house that came, and then the lake was done officially in 23. Is that correct?
Exactly, and we just had the Centennial Lake Fest, and the city honored him by naming the Staley Basin, and so we are really, really excited to be able to continue that history and that legacy of the lake being here for 100 years. And what's interesting is if you go to the Staley Museum, we do have a display there about the original celebration for the lake when it was built. There was a festival that was held in 1923. It was for, I believe, four days on the lake in July, I believe, and of 1923, and they had all kinds of events going on the lake and lakeside, and we have all kinds of the photographs and documentation of it at the Staley Museum. So it was so wonderful to have this event that the city put on 100 years later, and to celebrate at the exact same location that they did it 100 years ago.
Well, like you said, so many things that he did and the company did has touched people over generations, and not just the architecture, but the lake. And I remember Staley days. My mom worked there for a number of years, and I remember going to Staley days and playing games. I was just a little guy. So just, history is so important that we remember how things came to be. But I'm just so excited to see this film. I've been excited for it a few years now, right? So
you have.
Yeah.
You and Buick have been so supportive with the Staley Museum and with our film. We're so grateful for you and for your company and for everyone who has really supported this history and supported the museum throughout the years.
Well, just want to let you know and let our listeners know that we are going to give away 4 tickets to the premiere on the 16th.
Wow.
So we're going to be, when I push this podcast out, it will be on our Facebook page, and that's where people will go to enter. So they'll, if you're listening to this and you want to try to put your put in to get those 4 free tickets, go to our Facebook page. You'll see the post here with Julie, and all you have to do is comment on that post, and you're going to be entered to win. And so hope to see you there. But that's September 16th. And I think I heard, did you guys just release some extra tickets too?
Well, there are actually many opportunities to see this because, of course, some people have other things going on September 16th. It's a busy weekend, going to be beautiful weather. And so if you cannot make it on the 16th, do not worry. There are other opportunities to see the film because it's going to play at the Lincoln Square Theater for a few weeks. So you can pick a time that works for you and call or go to the Lincoln Square Theater, and they would be more than happy to set you up with tickets at a time that's going to mutual time that will work for you to be able to see the film. So so that is something that anyone could schedule on their own time. I know that the Staley Credit Union is sponsoring a special night on Monday the Monday after, so the 18th, Monday night, they're sponsoring that if people want to attend that for those who might not be there on the 16th. So there are, yes, many different ways people can go see it on their own or with different groups of people. And we really, really are looking forward to sharing this with the community.
So you not only get to watch a film about Decatur's history, but you watch it in a theater that is Decatur's history. So that's going to be cool.
Absolutely. Yes, the Lincoln Square Theater. That's a whole other documentary. That's so much history there, and they have done an amazing job of restoring that theater, and it really looks fantastic. So we're really excited to be able to show this there.
And finally, my last question, Julie, do you know when will we be able to get a copy of the film?
Well, that's all kind of remains to be seen. We need to get through the this theatrical release, and then see where everything is, and we hope to have more announcements very soon about where people can continue to see this. And we just have to, it's been overwhelming in a very, very good way, the response for people wanting to see it. So we need to make sure that we work out the best way for people to see it after this. So we promise that we will have ways. We just want to make sure we do everything the right way, that we can get it to the most people the quickest. So I guess stay tuned. There's more to come.
Awesome. Well, Julie, thank you so much for your time today, and we really look forward to seeing it. And do you have any other films coming up through Spencer Films?
No, this has taken up a lot of our time,
Oh, yeah.
and so I think a lot of us are going to have a little break and just enjoy the moment here. We do have a sister company, our Spencer Theater Company, and we have a Edgar Allan Poe event taking place in October. At the Hoagland Center for the Arts, and also at the University of Illinois at Springfield through the Center for Performing Arts over there. So we're very excited to be able to continue, sharing the arts with the community. And hope we see people at our theater event and more things that we'll have coming down the road.
Awesome. Well, again, Julie, thanks for your time, and we look forward to seeing you down the road.
Thank you so much, Jim. Thank you for your support, and I look forward to seeing you at the premiere.
All right. Well, take care.
You too.
The Realtor's View is brought to you by Buick Real Estate. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and our YouTube channel. And thanks again for listening to The Realtor's View.